My name is Charlie, and I'm the Spirited Witch here on Feathers and Flight. So you guys haven't seen too much of me on this channel since my introduction, and by haven't seen too much of me, I mean you haven't seen any of me since my introduction. This is my first video that I'm doing on the channel. So it's actually going to be a video response to Mandy's video where she was talking about oh gosh, I don't even remember what it's titled. But the last video that she was posting, where she was talking about when she went to the wedding and not feeling anxiety, and she was talking about basically just everyone there was dancing and there was no judgment, and it was just this great feeling and this great experience. And I wanted to do a video response because I think it was the same weekend that she was at her wedding. I was actually at a wedding myself. It was actually Pat. A lot of you guys know Pat, and his fiance got married, and they're actually right now they're in Salem for their honeymoon, which is I'm so jealous about. But anyway, okay, so Pat and I met. A lot of you know that Pat and I met through YouTube. So I had never really met any of his friends that he just like knew in real life, like not through the internet. Whenever I hung out with Pat, it was just me, Pat, Lucas, and Nathan, and usually Nozomi. And I think I met like his brother and his brother's girlfriend once, and then I met his mom, but I didn't meet anyone else. So on October 13th, we had Pat's wedding, and we went to that, and it was really, really gorgeous. Pat planned everything. They made all the decorations. They like bundled all of the silverware into these beautiful little like things tied with twine. They made all of the little like party favors. You know, they usually have like some weddings, they have like little bottles of bubbles in the middle of the tables. Pat made, because he's amazing, extremely gifted at making bath salts and like other body care things. He made everyone this little sachet of bath salts, and always amazing. And it had like this little twine thing attached to it, was like this little like tag, and it was really, really nice. It was outdoors in a tent. It was actually raining that day. It was really, really gray, and it was raining on and off. So we went there, and I've had anxiety for pretty much my entire life. I wasn't actually diagnosed with it until 5th grade. And I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, which is basically where you just have anxiety about everything. And it's just a very general, broad, anything can trigger you, anything can set you off. But really my main triggers would be my emetophobia, which is the fear of vomiting. And triggers like being around people who are sick or are just getting over being sick. I start getting anxiety around them because I'm afraid I'm going to catch whatever it was that they had. Not if they have a cold or something, only if it's like a stomach flu where they were throwing up. Other triggers are eating meat and being out in public and eating things where I'm not sure how the food was if the food was properly handled. So I can't eat chicken when I go out to eat. I can barely eat steak. Definitely no white meat though at all. And some other triggers are just basically that's my main trigger. I also get triggers for my anxiety of eating in public, and the reason that that's a trigger is because it's also tied back to my emetophobia. And how it works is that in my mind, I know that this is irrational, but in my mind I'm thinking, what if basically I feel trapped. If I'm out to eat with someone, if it's just Nathan and me and Zoe, I'm fine, because I know that I can just say like, Nathan, we gotta go now, let's leave, and we'll be gone, and then I can start calming down. But if I'm with a group of people where basically I don't have the freedom to just leave and go whenever I want to, that starts my anxiety going. And being at this wedding, I was actually really nervous to start eating because I thought that if I started to eat that it would trigger an anxiety attack, and I didn't want that. Luckily it didn't, and the food was delicious. I had this really amazing like pesto pasta dish, and it was awesome. But my social anxiety, which is probably, of all of my anxieties, the one that gives me the most trouble is the one that is triggered by anything to do with vomiting or stomach illnesses. That's the worst one. The least worst one of all my anxieties is my social anxiety. what I experience for me personally with social anxiety is I clam up. I don't know what to say to people. Like, okay, so you guys might not realize this about me because I appear to be, I'm assuming, outgoing. I mean, I post videos on YouTube, I'm all over Facebook, blah, blah, blah. But I'm actually a very introverted person. I get extremely drained. I used to be an extrovert. I don't know when that changed, but I'm very introverted. If I'm around people, like, plans stress me out. If I'm around groups of people, I get exhausted. I need my alone time. I need to be able to be alone and just focusing on myself and focusing on just being with me and being with Nathan and Nozomi. But I need to have time when I'm not with, like, groups of people. Just they stress me out. When I experience social anxiety, for me it's like I start overthinking things, and I'm worried about, like, what people are thinking of me, and I'm worried about that I'm saying something that they think is stupid, and I just completely clam up. And I don't know if I look like I'm outgoing and confident. I don't know if it's just like, because you know how some people, they just look like really sweet and nice, and some people just look like bitches. Some people just look like, I don't know if I just look like I'm, you know, really happy and I'm social and all that stuff. I don't know if I look that way or not, but I don't feel that way. What happens is someone will introduce themselves to me, and first of all, that's where the first thing goes wrong, is that I don't ever catch their name because I'm so focused on making sure that I'm maintaining eye contact, shaking their hand appropriately, and not forgetting my own name so I can tell them my name. So all that stuff, I'm thinking, don't forget to look at them in their eyes, shake their hand, I'm Charlie, and that's all going through my mind after they've just told me their name, so I never remember their names. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that, so basically we were at this wedding, and like, Pat's friends are all super awesome and really, really nice. And we were at this wedding, and they were, you know, trying to like strike up conversation, like, oh, I love your jacket, where did you get your jacket? Or how do you know Pat? And I would just answer like, oh, I got it at H&M this morning. And then that was it. Like, how do you know Pat? Oh, we met on the internet. And that was it. That's all I said. I didn't say, how do you know Pat? I didn't say, oh, I love your dress, your hair looks really nice, or, you know, you're having fun? How was the ceremony? Because we missed the ceremony. We just made it for the reception. And it's like I forget to, I'm so worried about answering the question correctly that I forget to like ask people like other stuff or like keep the conversation going. It's really weird. And so what this has done for me is really what's happening in my head, and what's happening for me is that I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling very, very shy. But how it comes off to other people, and I don't know this from Pat's wedding, apparently everyone at Pat's wedding liked me, which was cool, but I know when I was younger and this would happen, I would hear people tell my close friends that people thought that I was like a stuck-up bitch, that I was just like too good for everyone because I wouldn't talk to anybody. And that's totally not what I'm like. That's not what I feel at all. Like, what I feel is literally, oh my god, I'm really, really scared and nervous to talk to you right now. You're talking to me. I don't really know what to do. And I know that might come off as a shock to a lot of you because I'm on YouTube, but it's really, it was bizarre. And I actually haven't had an episode with social anxiety for a long time. Like, since last year, probably, my anxiety started coming back. Before that, I was good. Yeah, I thought that was just kind of funny because, you know, Mandi was just talking about getting over anxiety, and also that she had this experience at this wedding, which sounded like an amazing experience and an amazing wedding. And then I had this experience where I was just like all freaked out. Yeah, if people don't know me and they don't know that about me, apparently it just comes off that I'm stuck up and arrogant and I don't want to talk to them, even though that's totally not the case. The case is just that I'm scared to talk to them. So that was my experience. Anxiety, for those of us who suffer with anxiety, it really can be crippling, and it's unfortunate. I'm on anti-anxiety medication to be able to keep me functional because in the work that I do at, you know, my day job, I need to be able to speak in front of people. I need to be able to socialize. I need to be able to interact with other human beings. I can't just sit in a corner and meditate all day, which is what I would love to do, but I can't do that. So for a long time I was on anti-anxiety and anti-depression because anxiety and depression go hand in hand often. So I was on a medication that takes care of both of those, and that was Paxil, from the time that I was about 10 years old until I was 18. And I hated it so much. I hated Paxil because if I would forget to take it, I'd actually have withdrawal really, really bad, where I would be to the point of having tremors and convulsions, and I would be throwing up, and it was like a fucking, like, alcoholic that is going through withdrawal from not having alcohol, or a fucking heroin, well, probably not as serious as a heroin addict, but it, like, I was having physical withdrawal symptoms. I would vomit, I would tremor, I would be breaking cold sweats. It was miserable. I would be hanging over the toilet, vomiting and dry heaving. So I weaned myself off of Paxil, because once you're on a medication for a long time, it's working for you, so it works. So it feels like you don't have anxiety anymore, or you don't have depression anymore, because the medication is working. So then what happens oftentimes is that people will, and some people do kind of outgrow anxiety and depression, but more often than not, people who have it for their lifetime, they don't outgrow it. It's just, it's there. And so when they're on these medications and it feels like I'm over my anxiety, I don't need these pills anymore, and they stop taking the pills, they'll be good for a few years, which is what it was for me. Like, for me, from about the ages of 18 until I was 25, I was fine. I didn't have any anxiety or depression. But then last summer, out of nowhere, or actually no, it was 2 summers ago, out of nowhere,
Are you hungry? Daddy's making food.
No, honey, I'm not hungry. Last year, 2 summers ago, out of nowhere, my anxiety just came back, and I was like, I couldn't even go places because I was anxious all the time. It was really horrible. So, yeah, that's my experience with anxiety, and it is difficult. And what I've noticed too is that the same exercises that I do to basically shield myself from feeling too much energy around me actually helps with my anxiety, which I've had a hunch the past few years that my anxiety is not necessarily all my anxiety, and for my whole life I've been treated for a condition that I probably have a bit of, but I don't think that everything that I feel with this condition is necessarily anxiety and depression itself, which I'm good on the depression part, but the anxiety part, I don't think that it's all me. I think a lot of it has to do with just picking up on other energies around me, because it happens in very certain situations and certain places. Like, over the summer we were driving to Sheboygan, and I was fine. You know, I was totally fine. We're just driving, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I start feeling sick to my stomach, which is usually how my anxiety, because my anxiety feels different than a lot of other people. A lot of other people, from what I've talked to people with anxiety about, their anxiety attacks feel like they're dying, like their heart's pounding really fast, they are scared that they're gonna die, they don't know what's wrong, there's something wrong with them, they're just freaking out. For me, I'm not scared that I'm going to die. I don't feel like I'm going to die at all, even though sometimes I feel like I wish I would die, because it feels like I'm nauseous. I am sick to my stomach. I am shaking like this. My stomach is tense and tight. My heart is beating. I'm in a sweat. Like, it feels like I have a really bad flu, minus a fever. And I started kind of feeling like this queasy feeling, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. I don't want to have an anxiety attack. And then I start going back, because my first thought is this anxiety? And then my second follow-up thought is always, oh my god, did I eat anything bad? Was I in contact with anyone who had the stomach flu? And then my anxiety starts getting control of me. So I start feeling this, like, and we were just driving, and it was at nighttime, probably about 11 o'clock at night, and I had been fine just before. That was just like instantly, boom, just all of a sudden I started feeling sick to my stomach and hot. Like, I'm just kind of like resting my head back on the seat, and all of a sudden, probably about half a mile down the road, we passed this huge carcass of a buck, and the road is just covered in blood, like stained red. It looked like somebody took like a 5-gallon bucket of red paint and just like splashed it on the road and then like rubbed it into the road. It was covered with old dried blood. And I was like, oh my gosh, and that made me even feel even worse. And then we started driving, and once we got probably about half a mile away from that, all of a sudden out of nowhere it was gone. The feeling was gone. So I think that what I was actually picking up on was the energy from that particular scene. Someone's knocking on something outside, and I don't know why. So anyway, I wanted to share that, and thank you, Mandy, for kind of talking about anxiety a bit on the last couple of videos. And I have a couple other video ideas for this channel. Some of you have basically given me some ideas, and then I've thought of some on my own as well, so I'm going to be filming those within the next few weeks, and I will talk to you all soon. Abundant love and spirited wishes.